Alright, solving radical equations is not terribly difficult. It's somewhat intuitive. The only thing I want to stress is make sure you check your answers, because sometimes you end up losing some when you're squaring square roots and things like that. Alright, here we have square root of 2x equals 4. The opposite of the square root is to square both sides. Those will cancel, giving me 2x equals 16, and we'll get x equals 8. If we take that 8, we plug it back into the original, we'll get the square root of 2 times 8 equals 4. So that's the square root of 16 equals 4, which is true. So we know our solution, x equals 8, is correct. Next up, we have 2x equals square root of 100 minus 12x minus 2. First thing we want to do is isolate this square root. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 to both sides. That's going to give me 2x plus 2 equals the square root of 100 minus 12x. Next, I can go ahead and square both sides. Now remember, when I square this left side, I'm going to have to FOIL this out. It's going to give me 2x plus 2 times 2x plus 2 equals, and then the square roots will cancel, 100 minus 12x. Alright, I went ahead and distributed that out here to get this. Next, let's go ahead and set this equal to 0 so we can factor. We know we want to do that because we have this x squared term. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's going to give me 4x squared plus 20x minus 96 equals 0. Factoring this will bring me here. All I have to do is set each of my factors equal to 0. And that's going to give me an x equals a negative 8 and an x equals 3. Alright, we're not quite done yet. Remember, we want to take this x equals 8 and negative 8 and x equals 3 and plug it right back into the original over here. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink that. I'm going to first plug in x equals negative 8 all the way back in. That'll give me 2 times negative 8 equals square root of 100 minus 12 times negative 8 minus 2. If I work all of that out, I'm going to get negative 16 equals 12. That's not true, so x equals negative 8 is not a solution. Let's go ahead and check our other one, x equals 3. Now I'm going to plug that into the original. That'll give me 2 times 3 equals square root 100 minus 12 times 3 minus 2. This time I'm going to get 6 equals 6, which is correct. So x equals 3 is my only solution for this one. Alright, here we've got cube root of x minus 5 squared plus 14 equals 50. Let's start off by isolating the square root. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 14 from both sides. That's going to give me a 36 here. Next, I need to clear this cube root. Instead of squaring, I'm going to cube it because this is a cube root. So I'll do to the third power of both sides. That'll cancel, leaving me with x minus 5 squared equals 36 cubed. Let's see, that's going to be about 46,656. 656. Let me make my equal sign a little more defined. Alright, next I have this x minus 5 squared. To get rid of that squared, I have to square root both sides. Remember, when we square root, we're going to get a plus or minus. And it's actually going to be plus or minus 216 equals x minus 5. So if I solve both of those solutions, I'll get x equals 5 plus 216 and x equals 5 minus 216, leaving me with my two solutions, x equals 221 and x equals negative 211. I went ahead and plugged these back in to check them, and both of them checked out as true, so these are my answers. Alright, last one here, we have square root of x minus 2 equals 5 minus square root of 15 minus x. Now make a note that when you have two separate roots, to separate those on different sides of the equal sign. So here we have one square root on the left and one square root on the right. If that was not the case, you want to make sure that is before you start. So since we do have that here, I'm going to go ahead and start by squaring both sides. This is going to cancel, leaving me with x minus 2 equals, remember, this side has to be distributed out. So doing that, that's going to give me 5 minus square root of 15 minus x times 5 minus square root of 15 minus x equals x minus 2. Alright, watch closely how I distribute this out. It's the same way we distribute anything else. We'll do 5 times 5. That's going to give us 25. Then we do negative root 15 minus x. Sorry, I'll do this 5 first. Let's do 5 times this. That'll be minus 5 root 15 minus x. Then we have negative 15 root 15 minus x times 5 here. That's going to be minus 5 root 15 minus x. And then we have root 15 minus x times root 15 minus x over here. Both of those are negative, so that's going to give me plus 15 minus x because square root of 15 minus x times square root of 15 minus x is 15 minus x. So we see how that is going to cancel out. On this left side here, let me make this a little smaller so we can see everything. Left side, we're still going to have x minus 2. We can combine these like terms here. That's going to give us negative 10 root 15 minus x. And I'm going to go ahead and take everything else on this side and move it over to the left side of the equation, because now we can see we're still left with the square root. We need to get this by itself now and square that out. Doing that, I subtracted the 25 over, subtracted the 15 over, added x over. I get 2x minus 42 equals negative 10 square root of 15 minus x. All right, let's keep going. Now we want to get rid of this square root over here, so let's square both sides again. On this left side, we're going to have to FOIL it out. We're going to have to distribute 2x minus 42 times 2x minus 42 equals, this is going to give me negative 10 squared, which is 100. And then this square root of 15 minus x squared will just cancel, so times 15 minus x. Alright, we're going to have to distribute all of this out. We're going to have to distribute this, and then again, we're going to have to set it all equal to 0 so we can solve. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Doing that, I get 4x squared minus 68x plus 264 equals 0. To make this a little easier to factor, I can factor out a 4. That's going to leave me with x squared minus 17x plus 66 equals 0. That 4 can divide out, so I can just cancel that out because I could divide that both sides. And factoring that, I'm going to get x minus 6 and x minus 11 equals 0, leaving me with my solutions of x equals 6 and 11. Alright, again, we'd have to take both of these solutions, take them all the way back up to the original problem here, plug them back in. I did that in advance just to spare you some time. Both of these check out, so our answers are x equals 6 and 11.